Dwayne Haskins is a talented 6'3", 218-pound rocket arm quarterback that stars at the Ohio State University, where he's led the Buckeyes to a 12-1 record in a Big Ten championship this past season. Haskins saw limited time last season in relief of longtime Ohio State quarterback J.T. Barrett and showed that he had the talent and potential to be the future signal caller for the Buckeyes. With J.T. Barrett leaving for the NFL and Joe Burrow, who he was in competition with, transferring to LSU, Haskins found himself as QB1 for the Scarlet and Gray to start this past season. In his redshirt sophomore season, Haskins set OSU and Big Ten records in passing yards and touchdowns, which were both previously held by future Hall of Fame quarterback Drew Brees. He also has set numerous school records in other passing categories. Haskins is looking like he has the potential to be the top quarterback coming out in this year's draft if he decides to forego his last 2 seasons of eligibility. Today, we're going to take a look at Haskins and see if he has what it takes to play at the next level. First thing that stands out about Dwayne Haskins is his frame. He has that prototypical NFL quarterback body, the type that NFL scouts and coaches love. He appears to be every bit of 6'3" tall, and at this point during the season, he's probably anywhere from 215 to 225 pounds. Having a bigger, stronger, and more physically mature guy is always a plus at the quarterback position. Not saying it's a requirement, but a guy with a frame like Haskins will be better suited to endure the physical toll that playing a full NFL season takes on the body. Standing at 6'3" tall, he's tall enough that he should not have any issues seeing over NFL linemen. His height will allow him to throw passes effortlessly through passing windows without having to move the pocket or change his arm angle very much. Also, knockdowns shouldn't be much of an issue for him like it would be with a shorter quarterback. When it comes to arm talent, he arguably has the best in the draft. Haskins is in the same mold as former Ohio State quarterback Cardale Jones, who led the team to a national championship during the 2014-2015 season. Like Jones before him, Haskins appears to have a very strong arm. In my opinion, his arm may be a bit better than Jones' arm. While Jones had a rocket arm and could throw it a mile, he was often inaccurate and would miss on relatively easy throws. This is part of the reason he was ultimately replaced by J.T. Barrett early on during the following season. He also did not have the velocity, as his passes would take time to get to his intended receiver. His deep passes would float and allow the defenders to recover and make plays on the ball. This, to add to the inconsistent accuracy, is often a recipe for disaster. This does not seem to be the case with Haskins, though. He can throw it a mile as well, but his passes get there in a hurry. He throws the ball with velocity as opposed to just throwing it far. He appears to have good accuracy and velocity in the short, intermediate, and deep zones. Haskins can spin it with the best of them, and he can make all the throws that will be required of him in the NFL. His arm should be the least of his problems. Mechanically speaking, he looks to have a smooth and quick release. You can tell he's been coached very well throughout his career on the mechanics of throwing the football. He doesn't have a long windup, he doesn't have a funky release or any hitches in his throwing motion. I'm sure he'll continue to work on the nuances of throwing the ball once he gets to the NFL and gets NFL level coaching, but a dramatic change in the way he throws the ball should not be a necessary thing for Haskins. In my opinion, this is his biggest flaw. He's a true pocket passer, and when he drops back with a clean pocket, he'll sit in there and deliver strikes all over the field. Now this changes once he gets pressure in his face. He doesn't appear to be very confident in these situations. I don't believe he has a good feel for the pass rush. He seems to always be a second late to recognize it, and this often leads to sacks or ill-advised passes. Haskins must do a better job of not panicking once the pass rush gets near him. If you watch guys like Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield, who were the last 2 number 1 picks in the NFL draft, they both have a great feel for the pass rush. They make subtle movements within the pocket and can evade the pass rush without panicking. If need be, they'll stand in the pocket, deliver the ball, and take a shot. This is something that's practiced and drilled, but it's also a field thing. Quarterbacks must have that internal clock knowing when to vacate the pocket and get rid of the ball. They must be able to make those subtle movements within the pocket, all while keeping their eyes downfield and delivering the ball on time with accuracy. This also takes a level of courage. If you're not willing to stand in there and take a hit occasionally, you're always going to try to get out of the pocket at the first sign of pressure. This is an area that Haskins must continue to work on because it is necessary in order for him to have success in the NFL. This leads me to his overall athleticism and mobility. Mobile quarterbacks have been in demand in the NFL for a while now, and with a good reason. You want a guy that can get out of the pocket and make things happen once the play starts to break down. For example, guys like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson have had a ton of success playing with this style. Because they're naturally gifted athletes, this works for them. It isn't really something you can teach, you either have it or you don't. Dwayne Haskins is not that type of athlete though. This is not a knock on him. For every mobile quarterback that's out there that's having success, there are probably 50 pure pocket passers that have had the same type of success. For example, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, two of the best quarterbacks ever, were not considered mobile quarterbacks. I wouldn't say Haskins is as immobile as Brady or Manning, but he is not going to pull the ball down and break a 50-yard explosive either. He's much more comfortable in the pocket. Comparing Haskins to Cardale Jones again, Jones was not that overly mobile quarterback either, but he was a decent athlete. When he did scramble, he had a little bit of wiggle, and he was tough to bring down because of his frame. I just don't see that with Haskins. He's reluctant to scramble, but when he does, he will make very few people miss in the open field. Haskins must be protected in order to be an effective passer because getting out of the pocket and keeping plays alive aren't his biggest strengths. I'm not saying he can't do it, I just don't think he's effective enough to do it on a consistent basis. He should not be counted on as that type of athlete or player. Watching Haskins on film, he reminds me of a smaller version of Ben Roethlisberger. Big Ben is about 3 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier, but I do believe they have some of the same skills. Both big arm quarterbacks that are accurate and have enough athleticism to get out of the pocket, but aren't necessarily mobile QBs. While I do feel like Big Ben was far more effective escaping pressure and getting out of the pocket, not getting sacked, Haskins does have the ability to do so. He just must improve in these situations. Remember, this is his first season as a full-time starter. He doesn't have the experience that some of the other quarterbacks that are coming out in this draft have. He has a very high ceiling, and there's still so much room for improvement. If he does decide to enter the NFL draft, I think he'll be one of the first quarterbacks taken. Now, it's all dependent on the postseason evaluation process with pro days, private workouts, and of course the NFL Combine. If he does decide to come back for one more season at Ohio State, I would not be surprised either. Given his raw talent and production this past season, I do not envision that happening. Haskins is definitely an NFL caliber quarterback talent-wise, with a ton of room to grow and improve.